In the world of American numismatics, few coins command the attention of collectors, historians, and metal analysts quite like the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar. A coin struck in a turbulent decade that echoed with political unrest, cultural transformation, and economic uncertainty. This coin is not just a piece of currency, it is a preserved capsule of American heritage, minted during the post-Vietnam, Watergate-era America, where national confidence was shaken, and the economy began its spiral into stagflation. The 1973 half-dollar stands as a symbolic fusion of honor, memory, and transition, carrying the profile of a martyred president who remains one of the most iconic figures in United States history, John F. Kennedy, whose assassination, a decade earlier, had transformed the national psyche forever. This coin does more than honor his legacy. It embodies a country's desperate grasp at unity, identity, and resilience, and unlike its 1964 silver predecessor, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was struck with a copper-nickel-clad composition. A change driven by the Coinage Act of 1965 and the rising cost of silver, which reshaped American coinage for decades to come. The coin was never released for circulation to the general public, but was instead minted for collectors in mint sets and proof sets, making it one of the most misunderstood and overlooked pieces in modern coin collecting history. What few realize is that its hidden rarity lies not in mass production, but in distribution, constraints, preservation, quality, and the numismatic errors that occurred during its striking in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and the proof variants from San Francisco carry a story of craftsmanship and purpose that stretches beyond economics deep into the soul of American design, artistry, and industrial capability. From the intricate precision of Frank Gasparo's portrait work to the layered legacy of the Kennedy mythos embedded in the coin's release, timing, and ceremonial significance, we uncover how this uncirculated coin became a hotbed for error hunters and treasure seekers alike, with double dies, off-center strikes, and mirrored cameo finishes fetching significant premiums at auction. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar emerges not merely as currency, but as a historical touchstone, a forensic clue to the political, financial, and cultural narrative of a fractured nation. Learning to stand again through this 2-hour journey, we will explore not just the origins, metallurgy, and minting process of this coin, but the sweeping story of its conception, the public sentiment that surrounded it, and the legacy that continues to influence collectors to this very day through expert analysis, rare coin footage, historical records, and verified auction data. This documentary will transport you into the heart of the U.S. Mint during one of the most complex transitions in modern coin history, and reveal why the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar deserves its rightful place as one of the most valuable and symbolic pieces in the rich tapestry of American numismatics. Buckle in, because what you are about to discover is not just the story of a coin, but the journey of a nation. By those who dare to understand the true depth of American history through its most powerful artifacts. Welcome to Valuable Coins. History where metal meets meaning and the past comes to life through every etched line and every preserved flaw in the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar and the long winding journey of American coinage. One particular coin minted in a year of uncertainty and quiet transformation. The Kennedy half-dollar, dated 1973, is more than a 50-cent piece, more than a gleaming disc of metal. It is a moment of collective memory. To understand the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, we must first go back to the very beginning of its origin. In 1964, when the first Kennedy half-dollars were struck, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, a leader who captivated a generation with his youthful charisma, wartime valor, and enduring promise for a better America following his death, the United States, that would forever memorialize the fallen president. The design, crafted by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts for the obverse and Frank Gasparo for the reverse. Heraldic eagle adapted from the presidential seal on the reverse, it was a national tribute approved in record time and released to the public with such demand that the coin was hoarded almost immediately, never making it into circulation for its intended use. Over time, the design evolved, the composition changed, and by 1971, the silver had vanished, replaced with a copper-nickel-clad alloy due to the rising value of silver and changes implemented by the Coinage Act of 1965. This new composition became the standard for half-dollars, and it remained so in 1973. The year 1973 was a complex time in American history, the Vietnam War was nearing its bitter end, the Watergate scandal was unfolding in the shadows, the economy was teetering on the edge of inflation, and political trust was evaporating. The American people were exhausted, yet still clinging to symbols of unity and hope. Of a man many viewed as a martyr, a visionary whose legacy transcended politics, and whose memory was forged in the very metal of this coin, but the 1973 edition held a mystery that many collectors overlooked. It was never released into general circulation. This was a decision made to reduce costs, and because demand for circulating half dollars had plummeted, only collectors who purchased official mint sets or proof sets from the U.S. Mint would receive the coin, making it a unique anomaly in modern American coinage. Struck at 3 facilities in 1973: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each variant of the coin tells a different story. The Philadelphia version, marked by no mint mark, the Denver version, bearing the D mint mark, and the highly sought-after San Francisco proof edition, proudly showing an S mint mark, all were minted to high standards, yet each carries. The Mintage for the 1973 P was over 64 million, while the D version saw just over 83 million. The S proof, however, saw only about 276 million produced, meaning the proof version remains more scarce and valuable, especially in ultra cameo deep proof condition, with no blemishes and perfect mirrors. The composition was the same for all copper-nickel clad layers, bonded to a pure copper core, totaling a diameter of 36 millimeters and a weight of 11.34 grams, but despite the technical similarity, it's the condition, scarcity, and legacy that makes this coin a sleeper hit in the numismatic world. Collectors hunt obsessively for varieties and errors in the 1973 Kennedy half dollar, searching for doubled dies, strike-throughs, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and especially full bell lines. On the reverse of proofs, some of the most valuable examples have fetched hundreds to even thousands of dollars at auction, especially those graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, with clean surfaces, sharp details, and eye-catching luster. But the coin's true value goes beyond the auction floor. It lies in the story it tells. It is a bridge between two eras: the post-Silver Age of American coinage and the emerging modern era dominated by collectible proofs and sets. It was a time when the mint began transitioning away from mass circulation models to more controlled collector-based releases, where coinage became both artifact and investment. Furthermore, the Kennedy half dollar remains one of the few coins in U.S. history that continues to be minted with the same portrait of a president for over 6 decades. A rare tribute in a country that usually rotates designs over time. Even now, the Kennedy image serves as a beacon of American resilience, optimism, and tragedy. And in the context of the 1973 coin, it marks 10 years since his death, 10 years of a nation searching for stability, pride, and remembrance. The absence of circulation only enhances its mystique, because millions of Americans never held this version in their hands, never spent it at a grocery store, or received it in change, albums, mint packs, and government-issued envelopes. Untouched by the public, a silent relic of a chaotic age. Collector-based minting strategies. We will explore the techniques used in each mint, the error rates, the design, integrity, and the public perception of the coin in a time when coinage was becoming less of a necessity and more of a patriotic keepsake. You will see archival footage of the 1973 minting process, real auction results from heritage auctions and great collections, detailed breakdowns of grading terminology and why a 1-point difference on a grading scale can mean thousands of dollars. In valuation, we will speak to experts, historians, and dealers who specialize in Kennedy half dollars and trace the coin's appearance in pop culture, collector trends, and economic movements.